So I've gotten a bunch of requests for Dear Jimi, and I finally have some time to sit down and try to learn this piece. So I thought it'd be a good idea for me to document the process. So if anyone is out there that wants to learn some of these Mateus pieces on their own without having a lesson video, hopefully this helps so you can kind of see my process a little bit. You know what they say, give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. But teach a man to play Mateus licks. So YouTube has this feature where you can adjust the playback speed. That doesn't give me enough control. I like having more control than that. So I always start all of these by downloading the video. So YouTube to MP4, converter. Usually these sites are relatively safe. If you're on a Mac and the file that you're downloading says .dmg, don't open it. If you're on a Windows computer and the file that you're downloading says .exe, don't open it. This one says Dear Jimi, .mp4, so should be good to go. So the next step is actually going to be opening this up in a program called VLC Media Player. And there's probably a bunch of other media players that do this. I really like VLC. VLC is free, so give it a Google, download it. So the cool thing about VLC is under playback, if you look, I kind of have the same thing as I have in YouTube, but I can slow this down to a bunch of different increments. So 50%, 54, 57, as opposed to just having like 25, 50, and 75. I have all those in betweens, which is nice when you're trying to learn stuff, especially when you want to practice to the video, because you can kind of like gradually increase your speed over time versus having to like make those huge jumps. And I do really like being able to listen and play back rather than trying to learn it and then play it on my own. So that's exactly why when I do the lesson videos, I try to give you like a, here it is fast and here it is slow. You know, you can play it along to it slow and be able to hear back what it sounds like as you're playing it. That's a really crucial part. So I've listened to this in the car a couple times. I think first I want to figure out if it's in standard tuning. If it's in standard tuning, we'll be golden. If it's not in standard tuning, I'm going to take the file into Premiere and then I'm going to transpose the audio to get it into standard tuning or close to standard tuning. Obviously, I can't go from like open C to standard tuning, but I could go from open C to open D and then I wouldn't have to tune down as far. I don't think it's in open C or open D, but because it's called Dear Jimi, I'd be willing to bet he probably went down a half step, but we will find out. Let's give it a listen. All right, it's in standard. He did this little, I'll turn down a little bit so I'm not blasting your ears. So he did this little, and I saw him hit the open string, and that's usually the best way to kind of use that as a reference to be able to tell. Look for when he plays the open strings. If he plays an open string and you play what should be the same string and it doesn't sound the same, he's in a different tuning. All right, so let's start by slowing this down, and I'm gonna probably make a fool of myself here, but you'll at least be able to kind of see how much of a noob I look like when I'm trying to learn these pieces versus the finished product. And hopefully it's encouraging for you. So let's start from the beginning and give it a go. Oops, so let it like render a little bit. Okay, so right off the bat, he's got his trem arm on. The guitar, I don't have a trem arm for this, and the guitar that I have that has a trem arm is a full step down. So we're gonna try to get by with this, but then ultimately I'm gonna switch over to the Strat and get it perfect. But I can at least get the stuff on the fretboard and the picking hand pretty accurate. So it looks like he's starting off. Slow this down a little more just so I can see what's going on. So now we're at 38%. All right, what was that? So that's the beginning. I'm kind of relating a lot of that to, honestly, I don't really have a roadmap on the fretboard for what he's doing yet. I'm kind of just using my ear and trying to sing the part back. This is going to sound horrible. So being able to sing back the part, now I don't have to listen to him. So that's kind of like a helpful skill to have. You want to listen to it enough that you can you have it in your ear, you can sing it back, and then you're following your voice on the fretboard. I'm also visually following where his hand goes because the way the guitar lays out, there's so many different ways that you can play one single note that it's nice to have the visual, to not just be going on the audio, to have the visual as well. So that beginning. Let's see where he goes. Just like an E minor. That sounds right. Is there a reason he does the pinky there? Yeah, that seems uncomfortable. I don't know why he would do that, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use the ring finger. I think that's it. Okay, let's go back there. What was that? So... Okay, so at this point I have chunks, right? So rather than continuing to learn the rest of it, what I like to do is I've got like a solid 7 seconds of this under my fingers, at least a little bit. So now I can go ahead and clean that up. So we're starting off with... So just take that section. let's go back, refresh our memory. Nice. Okay. So a lot of what he's doing is pentatonic, and I'm kind of basically the way I'm like looking at him, and I've got my pentatonic boxes pretty under my fingers. So I'm looking at him, and I'm kind of playing the notes a second behind him, and that's kind of just helping me figure out, where stuff falls, and then it's time for me to kind of tighten up the screws once I have that down. So I think from the beginning it sounded like... Just takes a lot of going back through and trying to get the chunks down so that you can play without, and then you can kind of tighten it up. So it's probably would be a good idea for me to continue to just play this with him and then speed it up on my own. Once I have it sped up, I can try to play it sped up with him. I don't know. Hopefully that makes sense. But that's the process. Slow it down, listen, try to be able to internalize the way that it sounds, and then watch him as you're playing, and kind of try to play what he's playing a second behind him. Let me take it from the beginning one more time. Okay, I feel like I have that first part kind of down enough to be able to like make my way through it on my own. So at that point, I would start playing, So that's my problem spot. Rather than start at the beginning, I had all that in the beginning pretty well. Let's try to start right on that. So. Yeah, and I'd have to listen to it more, like over and over and over again to really get it in my brain, get it memorized to the point where I can, like I said, take it to the old shed. So I'm not going to do that for the entire thing, but I am going to learn the entire thing, and I am actually going to put out a video when I know how to play it, so then you'll know how to play it. But if you're watching this, maybe you'll beat me to it. Maybe you'll be inspired to download this on your own and slow it down and watch what he's playing, and kind of go from there. If you're interested in seeing the tutorial for Dear Jimi, definitely hit the subscribe button, ring the little bell. If you've downloaded any of my tab from my website, you're on my email list, so I'll shoot out an email as soon as it's uploaded. And yeah, I hope this video finds you well. If you found this video to be helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks.